The story of Izu-no-Kami's deputy, Ono no Itsutomo, chapter 27. Once upon a time, there was a man named Ono no Itsutomo who was appointed governor of Izu province, Izu-no-Kami, due to his long service as a lower official. During his time as governor, Itsutomo lacked a proper deputy, Mesho, so he sought advice on finding a capable person for the role. A person informed him, in Suruga province, there is a man skilled in both talent and ability who is also excellent at writing documents. Upon hearing this, Itsutomo sent an envoy to summon this man. When the governor finally met the deputy, he found him to be around 60 years old, large, and quite heavy set with a dignified air. However, the man had a stern and unfriendly expression, showing no signs of cheerfulness or openness. The governor thought, though I don't yet know his heart, he certainly looks the part of a proper deputy. He seems stern and serious in demeanor. The governor asked the man to write something to test his skills. While the handwriting was not particularly fine, it was swift and proficient, as would be expected of a deputy. The governor then handed him a complex document and asked, "How much is the sum here?" The man quickly looked over the document, performed some calculations, and within no time responded with the correct answer. The governor, impressed, thought, "While I don't know his true character, he is clearly a capable person." Pleased, he entrusted the man with many of the province's affairs. For 2 years, the deputy managed everything efficiently, never once causing the governor to doubt his loyalty. He was swift in dealing with delayed matters and always maintained a calm and efficient demeanor. Though the governor granted him various rewards, the man never seemed to indulge in excess, and his reputation spread even to neighboring provinces as a wise and capable official. One day, the deputy was sitting before the governor, surrounded by documents, applying seals to various papers, when a group of kugutsushi, puppet performers, arrived at the governor's residence. They sang and played flutes in an entertaining manner, causing the governor to feel unexpectedly delighted and moved by their performance. As the governor watched the deputy at work, he noticed something unusual. Normally quick and precise with his seal, the deputy suddenly began stamping his seal in rhythm with the performer's music. The governor found this odd and continued watching closely. Soon, the deputy started tapping his shoulder in time with the music, matching the performer's beat. Noticing this, the kugutsushi increased the tempo of their performance, singing and playing faster. The deputy, unable to resist, joined in with a deep voice, singing along with the performer's song. The governor, shocked and amazed, thought, "What in the world is going on?" The deputy, continuing to stamp his seal in rhythm, suddenly stood up and loudly sang, "I cannot forget the days of old," before abruptly running out of the room. The kugutsushi, encouraged by his reaction, played even faster. The household members, witnessing this, laughed uproariously, finding the situation amusing. The deputy, embarrassed, threw down his seal and ran away. The governor, bewildered by what had happened, asked the performers, "What was that all about?" The Kugutsushi explained, "In his youth, this man used to perform as one of us. He was skilled at writing and reading, but over time, he left the world of puppet performing and became a government official. When we heard that he had become the deputy of this province, we thought we'd come and see if he had forgotten his past." The governor, surprised, replied, "Indeed, I saw him stamping in time with the music and tapping his shoulder to the beat." The people of the residence laughed at the thought of the former Kugutsushi becoming the deputy. They remarked, "For such a stern-looking man, we would never have guessed he had such a playful side." After hearing the performer's story, they finally understood the truth. From that day forward, the people of the governor's residence and the province began calling the deputy the Kugutsushi deputy, laughing whenever they mentioned him. Although his reputation diminished slightly, the governor, feeling some pity, continued to employ him. Thus, it is said that even when one becomes a deputy of a province, old habits die hard, and it seems the Kugutsushi spirit still lingered within him. Some people claim that he must have been bewitched by the god of puppet performers, and this story has been passed down ever since. The story of the nuns who danced after eating mushrooms, chapter 28. Once upon a time, there were a group of woodcutters in the capital who often traveled to the northern mountains to work. One day, they lost their way deep in the mountains and had no idea where to go. With 4 or 5 of them sitting in the woods, lamenting their situation, they suddenly saw a group of people approaching from deep within the forest. The woodcutters thought, "How strange! Kay, who could be coming toward us in such a place?" As they watched, they saw 4 or 5 nuns approaching, dancing and singing. The woodcutters were terrified, thinking, "Surely these nuns are not human. Could they be Tengu, goblin-like spirits, or demons?" The woodcutters remained still, watching the dancing nuns draw closer. Though frightened, one of the woodcutters finally mustered the courage to ask, "Who are you? Why are you dancing like this in the depths of the mountains?" The nuns responded, "We understand that you are scared to see us dancing like this. However, we are just ordinary nuns who came together to pick flowers to offer to the Buddha. But as we wandered, we lost our way and had no idea how to return. While wandering, we came across some mushrooms. We were so hungry and thought, if we eat these, will we get intoxicated? However, we decided it's better to eat these mushrooms than starve to death. So, we picked the mushrooms, cooked them, and ate them. They tasted incredibly sweet. We thought it was wonderful, but after eating, we found ourselves dancing uncontrollably. Even though we think this is a strange occurrence, we can't stop ourselves from dancing." The woodcutters, hearing this, were astonished and thought it was bizarre. However, since they were also extremely hungry, they decided better to eat these mushrooms than die. They asked the nuns for some of the leftover mushrooms and ate them. Soon after, the woodcutters, too, found themselves dancing against their will. Both the nuns and the woodcutters continued to dance together, laughing all the while. After a while, it seemed as if the intoxication wore off, and they all went their separate ways, still unsure of where they were headed. From that time forward, these mushrooms came to be known as maitake, dancing mushrooms. Even today, even today, these mushrooms still exist, but people who eat them no longer dance. This strange occurrence is considered mysterious and puzzling, and thus the story has been passed down. The Story of the Scholar, Kiyohaseo and the Dog, Chapter 29. Once upon a time, there was a scholar named Kiyohaseo in the court of the middle counselor. He was exceptionally talented and knowledgeable, unmatched in the world, but he lacked understanding of the ways of yin and yang. One day, a dog frequently urinated over the garden fence, which puzzled Kiyohaseo. To understand whether this was a good or bad omen, he consulted a certain yin and yang master. The master predicted, on a specific month and day, a demon will appear in your house. However, it will not harm people or bring calamity. He advised that on that day, a ritual of abstinence should be observed. When that fateful day arrived, Kiyohaseo forgot about the warning and did not perform the ritual. Instead, he gathered his students to engage in writing exercises. As they were in the midst of composing, a terrifying noise erupted from inside a wooden box placed nearby, startling the students. "What is that sound? Is it a demon?" they wondered, filled with fear. As the noise continued, one brave student opened the box slightly, and out came a creature about 2 feet long, its body white with black cheeks and a single black horn. It had 4 white legs. The sight terrified everyone. However, one courageous student, emboldened by the situation, kicked the creature on its head. In that instant, it became clear that the creature was a white dog, which howled loudly in response. The dog had apparently gotten its head stuck in a branch and was unable to pull it out. When it finally broke free, the brave student realized, "Oh, it's just a dog." This realization calmed everyone, and they all began to laugh together. The people remarked, though it appeared to be a demon, it was merely a dog. The prediction that it wouldn't harm anyone turned out to be true, which is indeed remarkable. They praised the fortune teller for his accurate predictions. However, they also criticized Kiyohaseo, saying, "For a scholar of his caliber to forget about the Deva abstinence is indeed a shame." Thus, the story has been passed down. The Tale of Kiyomune and the Flounder Roll, Chapter 30. Once upon a time, there was an old nobleman in the left capital, known as the former lord. In his old age, he lived a very reclusive life, rarely venturing out from his home. Among his servants was a man named Kiyomune, who resided in Nagatake. As part of his duties, he occasionally visited the nobleman's residence. One day, when Kiyomune visited the shrine for offerings, he received a large quantity of flounder rolls from the guard of Awaji, Minamoto no Yorichika. Kiyomune took 3 of these rolls, intending to present them to his noble lord. He asked a servant named Yoshitsune to send a person to collect the rolls, saying, "I will present these 3 rolls to my lord." Afterward, Kiyomune went to the nobleman's residence and found that the nobleman was hosting a few guests. The nobleman expressed a desire for a meal and lamented that they had no suitable fish. Kiyomune then informed him, "I have received 4 or 5 flounder rolls from my servant in Setsu, and after trying some with the young servants, they were incredibly fresh and delicious. I left 3 rolls untouched, and since my servant could not come with me today, I thought to send someone to fetch them." The nobleman and his guests agreed that they should fetch the rolls quickly, especially since fresh flounder was indeed the best choice. Kiyomune called a young servant to ride a horse and instructed him to tether it at the gate, run to the shrine, and say, "Please send the 3 rolls that were left." He urged the servant, "Run, run!" When the servant returned, he shouted, "I've brought the rolls, all washed and ready." Kiyomune, eager to prepare the meal, took a knife and began to sharpen it, bustling about, while the young servant quickly tied the rolls to a branch and hurried back. Seeing the young servant rush back, Kiyomune exclaimed, "Ah, how swiftly he comes!" He placed the rolls on the cutting board, preparing to serve them alongside a large carp while adjusting his attire and kneeling in a manner befitting the occasion. He began to cut the twine binding the rolls, but as he did, various items spilled out. To his shock, there were worn-out sandals, broken wooden clogs, and torn straw shoes mixed among the rolls. Kiyomune, seeing this, was taken aback, dropping both his knife and chopsticks, and fled in a panic without even putting on his shoes. The nobleman and his guests were equally astonished, standing with mouths agape. The servants around them, also shocked, could only whisper among themselves, and the atmosphere turned somber. The joy of dining had vanished, and everyone quietly departed. The nobleman remarked, "It is known that this man is often eccentric, but I thought it was just part of his character. However, now that this has happened, what can be done? Such folly in life is disheartening. It seems that stories like this will circulate for generations, becoming a part of folklore." He gazed up at the sky, lamenting, "What a pitiful end to a noble life." Afterward, Kiyomune returned to his horse and rushed back to the nobleman's residence, where he met Yoshitsune, the shrine keeper. He said, "If you treasure those rolls, then please take better care next time. This kind of behavior is truly unacceptable." Yoshitsune replied, "What are you talking about? After I entrusted the rolls to the young servants, I had to leave for an urgent matter. I instructed my servant to ensure that if the rolls were fetched from the left capital, they would be delivered properly." Kiyomune, frustrated, insisted, "The servant must have been careless," and demanded that they call the servant to clarify. When they found the servant, he explained, "I heard from the young nobles that they had received the flounder rolls, and upon seeing them, they asked, 'What are these rolls?' When someone replied, 'These are the left capital's rolls,' they said, 'Then we should partake.' And thus they began to take the flounder for themselves, leaving behind only the broken sandals and clogs." Upon hearing this, Kiyomune was furious. The commotion drew others in, and Yoshitsune remarked, "There's no need to be so upset. This is what happened." Defeated, Kiyomune returned home reflecting on the situation. He decided that with so many people talking about it, it would be best not to return to the nobleman's residence. This incident eventually became known throughout the land, and it was said that Kiyomune never returned to the nobleman's court again, as he felt too ashamed to face them. Thus, the story has been passed down. The Tale of Fujiwara no Kiyoshi and the Fear of Cats, Chapter 31. Once upon a time, there was a man named Fujiwara no Kiyoshi, who received a title from the governor of the treasury and became a nobleman. However, he had a peculiar fear of cats, which some believed stemmed from a past life as a mouse. Wherever Kiyoshi went, men and women alike would show great courage, but upon seeing him, they would pull out cats and flee, as he was known as the nobleman who feared cats. Despite this reputation, Kiyoshi was a capable administrator, having cultivated rice fields across Yamashiro, Yamato, and Iga. During the time when Fujiwara no Suke was the governor of Yamato, Kiyoshi's handling of the province's taxes came under scrutiny. The governor wondered how to address this issue, considering that Kiyoshi was not an ordinary peasant but a man of significant standing, yet had not accounted for the taxes. One day, Kiyoshi was summoned to the governor's residence. The governor, planning to discuss the matter privately, invited Kiyoshi into a secure lodging. Despite his usual apprehension, Kiyoshi felt a sense of relief upon entering, as he was welcomed. The governor then expressed his concerns about the taxes. Kiyoshi explained, "There has been no proper assessment for our province. While I have been managing affairs in Yamashiro and Iga, I have not neglected Yamato. I assure you that by autumn I will complete all tasks without fail." Kiyoshi thought to himself, "The governor seems to be questioning my intentions. He thinks me untrustworthy because of the delay, but I have been preparing for this moment." As the discussion continued, the governor became increasingly frustrated and raised his voice, demanding, "Do you intend to leave the taxes unpaid? Today, I will take action unless you provide an answer." Kiyoshi, however, remained calm, saying, "I will do as you ask. I only require some time to finalize matters." At this moment, the governor summoned his attendants and commanded them to bring in the captured cats, as they had some understanding of Kiyoshi's fear. Kiyoshi's heart sank as he recognized what was happening. When the attendants arrived with 5 large spotted cats, Kiyoshi's eyes filled with tears, and he desperately looked to the governor for mercy. The cats began to run around the room, and Kiyoshi, overwhelmed by fear, was at a loss. The governor, noticing Kiyoshi's distress, instructed his attendants to secure the cats with ropes to prevent them from causing chaos. Kiyoshi, sweating and trembling, pleaded, "I will comply with your demands. Just please spare me." The governor, showing no sign of compassion, ordered, "If you do not produce the taxes, I will take more drastic measures." Finally, Kiyoshi relented and agreed to deliver the rice and taxes. He signed a document for 500 stones of rice, designating their delivery to the governor's office in Uda. The governor, satisfied, allowed Kiyoshi to leave, still holding on to the document as proof. As Kiyoshi left, he thought to himself, "Though I feared the cats, it was essential for my standing that I complied with the governor's wishes." The people soon learned of Kiyoshi's predicament, and it became a tale of both fear and necessity, showing that sometimes even the mightiest must confront their fears for the greater good. Thus, the story spread, reminding everyone that even a nobleman like Kiyoshi could be brought low by fear, but through it he managed to fulfill his responsibilities. This became a part of the lore, shared and recounted through generations.